There's absolutely zero reason that someone who is scum of the earth like this should be running loose on the streets of New York City. He was arrested 4 different times in New York City.
That was DHS Secretary Kristi Noem reprimanding New York City officials after an off-duty CBP officer was shot. Authorities arrested 2 criminal illegals from the Dominican Republic, released into the United States by the Biden administration. Americans were promised by President Trump that these guys were going to be deported, and Americans overwhelmingly voted for President Trump's promise to remove violent criminals from the U.S. And not just violent criminals. Polling regularly showed that most Americans support deporting every illegal migrant. But a new CNN poll shows that the majority of Americans think the president has actually gone too far while carrying out these deportations. And 59% of Americans oppose ICE raids that target non-criminal immigrants. It's exactly the moment the Democrats seem to be waiting for, and you'd think the other side of the aisle would capitalize on this golden ticket that they've been given. Cue Hunter Biden, who just did a 3-hour interview to remind everyone in America why Trump won in the first place.
Him, and everybody around him. George Clooney is not a actor. I don't know what he is. He's a brand. Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your garden? He's 81 years old. He's tired as You give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights.
With us now is Richard Goodstein, Democratic strategist and former advisor to Bill and Hillary Clinton, and Sean Spicer, NewsNation contributor and former White House press secretary under Trump. Thank you both for joining us. All right, let's start with you, Richard. All right, so obviously, I don't think any Democrat would have recommended that Hunter Biden express himself exactly like that. However, please explain to me the difference between Hunter Biden's view that illegal immigrants should be allowed to stay here, that all of the illegal immigrants who were shipped off to El Salvador should be immediately returned, that we need them to pick our crops and clean hotel rooms, is at all different from Gavin Newsom's view or Karen Bass's view, to say nothing of the more progressives in the party.
Well, you tell me why it is that Trump is so much underwater on the immigration issue. That's a shocking development, considering that was what he kind of ran on. And the answer is Americans have eyes and ears that work. And when they see people, veterans, American citizens, being grabbed off the street because they're Hispanic, when they see little girls who are getting cancer treatment, getting thrown and deported, that's what really gets them saying something has gone wrong. That's why you see these poll numbers that you just reported from CNN, because people see what's going on. And when Tom Homan says, we're going to flood the zone in New York, guess what? There's a lot more cameras in New York, even than in LA, and they will pick up these ICE people who seem just have their sadism just kind of unleashed by Tom Homan and Stephen Miller and Donald Trump. And we see it in action, and people are nauseated by it.
Okay, well, I don't think we should besmirch people who are actually doing their duties and working for the American people. But so is it your position that there is no daylight between Hunter Biden's view on immigration and that of Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, AOC, et cetera, et cetera?
The Democratic position on immigration, in 2013, a bill passed the Senate, 68 votes, including known lefties like Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham, in favor of any number of different ways to attack immigration, including protection for DACA, building a wall, and substantial building up of the courts. That's where the Democrats have been on immigration, and it would have passed the House, but Paul Ryan wouldn't let it come to a vote. So there's not real. Forget Hunter Biden. He's not speaking for anybody. Okay, there is a Democratic position on immigration, and we see it with this Dignity Act, right? That's where Democrats are today.
Okay, Sean, I want to bring you in here. Respond to anything you want, but also I would love your take on why the president's polling on immigration does seem to be slipping. I was also very surprised to see that.
Well, first, I mean, look, I think I loved that interview with Hunter Biden. He basically, I think the only one who loved it more than me is the CEO of Astronomer, because that guy was looking for any kind of lifeline. So I find it fascinating, by the way, that he is now saying that his dad was on Ambien, which explains a lot about why the White House physician, Dr. Sean O'Connor, took the fifth last week. Because either Hunter Biden is right and they were giving him Ambien, which does kind of comport to how that performance went, or he's lying again. But I think that it's interesting. I hope that the media follows up on this, because that is an interesting accusation from the president's son, who was intimately involved in his debate prep. And I think it speaks volumes to the medical care that Dr. O'Connor was providing. It really, and I mean this in all seriousness, I think that raises serious questions, if true. So either Hunter is lying about that, or a drug that was never disclosed was given to him right before one of the most important political moments of his career. But I know a lot of the media will blow it off because they've blown so many other things off. But I do think that that is a very, very interesting question that needs to be asked tomorrow, and that the Bidens shouldn't get let off the hook like they have with everything else. Now, with respect to immigration, here's what I will say. I think if I saw some of the news clips that a lot of people have in the way that things have been portrayed, I imagine that the poll numbers would reflect the way that a lot of the media has covered this. But the bottom line is President Trump campaigned on cleaning up this country. For 4 years, we were gaslit and told that there was nothing we could do about the fentanyl and the criminals that were in this country illegally. Last month, for the first time, we saw a record low of border crossings, and I think the country is safer for it. Here's the thing. If you are in this country illegally, we are a nation of laws, and I don't know why Democrats get off the hook when it comes to defending that. There are people in this country who have broken laws, but every single one of them has broken the laws of the United States by either overstaying a visa or coming into a country without the legal requirements necessary. And so if the Democrats want to be on record supporting any number of criminal acts, that's their position. But I think the president has shown the difference in what 4 years of open borders looks like compared to controlling the border and upholding the rule of law.
All right, let's take a look at something Tom Homan said today, and then I want to get both of your reactions.
When they force us into the neighborhood, because they won't let us in the jail, when they force us into the neighborhood to find that bad guy, many times we find others. Others that aren't a criminal target, but they're in the U.S. illegally, we're not walking away from them. I'll say it again, let us in the jail. More officers in the jail means less officers on the street.
So that was Tom Homan with NewsNation's Elizabeth Vargas. Your reaction, Richard?
I think Democrats should pay to put Tom Homan on the air, because he conveys this absolute sadistic attitude towards immigrants. I mean, Sean may be right about what Trump ran on, but we now know what the American public is seeing and saying in the polls, which is they don't like it. They don't like what they're seeing. They don't like having these troops go through MacArthur Park on horseback in Los Angeles when all there are is a summer camp going on. They don't like that. They don't like the U.S. senators being pushed to the ground for no good reason. They don't like it. So I think Tom Homan is the face of that, and there's a reason that over time Trump is becoming more and more and more unpopular when it comes to immigration, because people are nauseated by it and quite alarmed.
Sean, final word to you.
Yeah, I'll just go back to this. I mean, one of the things that Richards does is this sort of sleight of hand that a lot of the left and folks in the media do. We're not targeting immigrants. What Tom Homan and ICE are targeting are illegal aliens, people who've broken the law, who are in this country illegally. Many of us, most of us, if we're not Native American, are either immigrants ourselves or descendants thereof. So when Democrats in the media talk about targeting immigrants, it's gaslighting the American people, the same gaslighting that's gone on the last 4 years. Tom Homan's exactly right. When these so-called sanctuary cities prevent ICE and federal agents from going after known criminals and protect them and then release them into the city, ICE has an obligation. Look at all these people, Lake and Riley, the incident that happened in New York City where an agent was attacked by someone who the Biden administration allowed to stay in this country. They have an obligation to protect us, those that are legal citizens. So Democrats should be asked why they support allowing people who are criminals, because ICE has an obligation to go after them. And yes, I agree with Tom. If you're in this country illegally and you get rolled up at the same time, they can't then turn around and ignore that crime. They have to, by law, deport you and process you. So I know Democrats don't like this particular law, but the bottom line is if they don't like it, then change it. We are a nation of laws. You don't get to pick and choose which laws you want to follow and when you want to follow them.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.